Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning into ChannelBK. My name is Brian. It is Oscar Day. So what better time to do my top 20 movies of 2025, which was months ago. Listen, there were movies that I needed to catch up on. I didn't know if they were going to be included on the list, but I've gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to watch what I watch when I watch, and I'll have the video out when I'm good on all the movies. So without further ado, let's get into it. I am going to be honest. A lot of you are going to be watching this. Maybe you do know my list. Maybe you don't. This is probably the most normie list I have put together in a while. And I think it's going to get a lot of flack. I don't personally care because I think these are my top 20 favorite movies of the year. But it was a rough year for me. Let's just say that. However, I still think that this is the best list of movies for me, and we're going to get into it. We're going to start at number 20, an underrated little fun movie of the year, Freaky Tales. A really cool B movie. I love all the merging storylines that lead to the crazy ending. Number 19, Sorry, Baby. A very emotional, but also very funny debut from Ava Victor, or Ava Victor, rather. And I know this was a film that a lot of people loved over the course of the year. It has a premise and things that happen in it that are typical, but I think they're done very artistically and very just vividly stunning, to where every time something were to happen, and there's certain choices that this film does where it actually kind of throws me off, oh my gosh, that is so unique. Number 18, Is This Thing On? The new Bradley Cooper movie. He named his character Balls, so that's fun. A movie where it feels like there's not a lot. It doesn't feel like it's trying too hard to say some interesting things, and I think it goes down a unique path, and Will Arnett and Laura Dern are fantastic in it, and it feels very real, this relationship. Number 17, oh boy, this is everyone's favorite Best Picture nominee, F1. Look, I think this film was pretty damn fun. I don't think it reaches the highs of a Top Gun Maverick, but it's still engaging and fun and entertaining in a way where I can't take it away from this film because it's still pretty damn fun. Which actually goes into my next film, number 16, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. The first act is a mess to me. It kind of frustrates me. Once he is on that submarine to the end of the movie, it is nonstop. Holy shit, this is fucking awesome. And I think it is a nice send-off for Ethan Hunt. And I think there are so many cool choices, and there are some dumb choices, but there are some really cool choices with other things in this film that I like as well. Number 15, Friendship. Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd. This is one of those movies that the more that time went on, I think just as an experience, this movie is a lot of fun. It is a Tim Robinson vehicle. It is hilarious. There's some goofy shit in here. All I'm thinking about is the frog part. If you know, you know. And the obvious, the garage scene as well. But it is absolutely hilarious. Check it out if you haven't. 14, a movie that, as time went on, kind of went a little lower. But I was very shocked that this was a movie that I seemed to enjoy and no one else. Materialists. I'm not going to say much about the movie other than I personally found it very interesting and engaging. Obviously, not a lot of people did. It was a very hot topic movie. Because it seemed like I was actually shocked how divisive it was after seeing it. But I personally really liked it. I didn't really go into it with any thought. So it didn't really freak me out when it ended up being what it was, personally. I personally enjoyed it myself. Number 13, Rental Family. The super sappy, one of the biggest sappy movies of the year for me. I really enjoyed it. I think it does stuff that, again, culturally is very interesting and provocative, to where I always love seeing stuff like that from cinema, because it's not stuff that we experience here in America. And I think that is kind of what makes this movie above and beyond a lot of the sappiness to me. Is just the real moment and real character moments that I think is actually very beautiful. Number 12, again, a movie that has hung on because I love this franchise, Paddington in Peru. It is definitely a lot goofier than the previous two, but the journey is there, the emotions are there. I think Antonio Banderas is hilarious in his multi-roles. I think that is a great choice, and I just had a lot of fun. And again, it is a Paddington movie, and it still has been a movie I've thought about a lot with all the fun charm that it has had. Number 11, No Other Choice. This is one of the movies I was waiting to watch, and I do feel like it is a flawed film, but it makes up for it in its style, the edits, the cinematography. It is a wonderful looking movie, and it obviously deals with a topic that is very prevalent, and the joke is like, it feels like all those movies from Korea have sort of the same sentiment, but I actually think it was done in a way that I wasn't expecting, which is sort of a positive and negative of the film. But I think, again, overall, the film sort of comes through and puts something together that by the end I was like, that was pretty damn intriguing. Like, I was like, okay, and it all wrapped up in a very interesting way as well. We're in the top 10. Top 10, number 10, 28 years later. This film is bonkers. I think it is well written. It is also chaotic as hell. Music by Young Fathers. Shout out to them. Love Young Fathers. A welcome return to this world. And I love the Bone Temple as well. But we're going to have to wait for the end of this year to get into that. But fantastic. Number 9, the voice of Hind, Rajab, I believe. Again, if I'm mispronouncing this, I greatly apologize. There's really nothing more to be said that everyone else hasn't said. I personally really liked the way that this film was constructed with the actors, and then obviously the real audio. I actually didn't feel a disconnect. I think the way it kind of interprets, like, it kind of cuts to real footage of the situation happening as well while they're in the room. It's a film that, for someone that knows what happens, it's sort of depressing having to sit through it, but I think the gimmick of it works to where I was not disconnected from the subject. It was very intense. It was well put together. I think the characters, again, to me, it felt more like, it was more interesting seeing all of their interactions with each other than the situation, and I think that is what makes this movie so good to me, is yes, it could have been, let's get sad because we know what the story is about, but I think the actual movie does a better job of being like, let's make this a movie that happens to have this, and Free Palestine. So that's all I have to say on that. Number 8, Sisu, Road to Revenge. I don't know what people wanted out of this movie. I thought the first one was really cool. I liked it a lot. This one is, like, in a weird way, even more quaint, but even more, like, bigger. It is so over the top, and it's one of those things where it has such a cool, like, ending to it, like a nice emotional ending to it. And this is, like, such a weird 1-2 punch of films. Like, I just never would have thought this got a sequel, but it's awesome. It is such a great action movie, and I think it has some of the coolest stunts that I've seen, and it's done in a way where it doesn't even look terrible either. Like, I think a lot of the CGI is very well done. There's one of the goofiest things I've ever seen, but it also ends in failure, which I think is absolutely hilarious and kind of is you know what? I respect that. But to another movie that I shockingly loved this year. Again, I don't know what it was about this year. The Naked Gun. I was nonstop cracking up at how stupid and goofy this movie was. It felt like it was such a great merge of, like, modern comedies, but with what The Naked Gun is. but also without kind of getting you out of the story when it comes to the characters. I think it works very well, personally. Again, it's one of those movies that I could not stop laughing, and it was a movie that I just had so much fun with. Number 6, Sinners. Ryan Coogler. This, it is everything that I think this movie is. It has a lot going on. It's very big. Obviously, the Mecca scene of all the black music and culture is fantastic. Jack O'Connell is such a great villain in the way that's written. Again, Michael B. Jordan's dual performance is great. Miles Caton, is fantastic. Again, one of those movies that, it had all the hype. I went into it just like, okay, I'm hoping that it's as good as it is. People are saying it is, and it is. It's just fantastic. Number 5, Splitsville. Let me tell you, so when these guys came out with The Climb, which was sort of their breakout indie movie, I went into that movie so excited, hoping that it was going to be something very clever and unique, and I felt like it was very flat. It just was not getting to where it needed to get to me. This movie, I think, does exactly what that movie was supposed to do, and better. All I'm going to say is, and it's funny that I didn't even realize this was on the poster, there are 2 scenes with fish in this movie that I think are 2 of the funniest things I've ever seen in a movie in my life. And I know that's hyperbolic and it's so over the top, but I mean it. Like, go see this movie. It is so clever. It's so raw, but it's also funny and engaging in so many ways that I think you'll love it. Number 4, Caught Stealing. I mean, I will say, and I'm going to put this on record, until this fucking terrible AI thing that he's doing, I actually got happy for Darren Aronofsky, because I felt like this was such a different change of pace for him. It had more life to it. I like Darren Aronofsky, and I like what he brings, and sometimes it works. Sometimes I think it's, it is what it is. This movie to me was so different than what he's done, but it also has that griminess and that depressing feel to it that I'm like it was such a fun movie, and it always kept you on your toes, and it always added in new things that even if it wasn't in there for as long as you wanted, it was enough to engage you. And it just has such a great feeling. Austin Butler, man, he's awesome. Like, shout out. Number 3, another hot topic movie, but I personally love it. Mickey 17. It is kind of big, and there's a lot going on. However, to me, the only part of the movie that I was bothered by was I felt like the Steven Yeun stuff could have easily just been put into the plot. His character is a plot convenience, and it's in the scene when all that kind of comes together, feels like the whole movie stops. Then we get to the real ending, which the ending also threw me off. Like, I thought the ending was so clever. Like, oh my God, like, this is what it is. But listen, Robert Pattinson, man. Wow. Like, again, going back to Sinners, a lot of twin movies this year are dual role movies. And let me tell you, man, he is excellent. And Bong Joon-ho, again, when he does these American movies, there's sort of a, like, a bigness to them and an on the nose to, like, sensibility to it, but I think he does it well enough because it feels kooky. Like, it never seems like with Snowpiercer, it's meant to be taken seriously, but it's not meant to be like, oh my God, this is such a deep, dark thing. It's kind of meant to be bigger topic and themes, like Okja. It's the same way. And I personally am okay with that. I think it works. Number 2, let's end with the top 2 movies of the year that are the most depressing movies I've seen in a while. Number 2, Bring Her Back. I'm going to tell you right now, I've not stopped thinking about this movie. I think this is the horror movie of the year. It is. I think a lot of people have come away from this movie and they've brought up things that maybe should or shouldn't have been in here. I think every part to this movie is so deliberate and so perfect and well done that from Talk to Me to this, these guys are, it's crazy to me just how well-mannered these films are. And for a topic that, you know, going into it, from the title, from the moment that Sally Hawkins shows up, you know what's happening. But it brings you on this emotional and character journey that sometimes it doesn't explain itself, sometimes it does, but it's all done in a way where even though you kind of know where things are going, you still go, oh my fucking God, I was not ready for that. And it shocked me so many times. And it was one of those films that has stuck with me. And it's not shock for shock value. There's scenes in here that I think, and again, I won't even give them away if you haven't seen it. There is some very difficult stuff in this film. Even for me, as someone who has seen so much, I was like, oh my God. But it never feels exploitive. Like, it's like, this is what it is meant for. And it tells just an incredible story to me. But number one, this would have happened a few years ago. A documentary made it to the top of my list. The Alabama Solution. Yeah, America kind of sucks. And again, a topic that when you watch, you feel like you're already going to be like, okay, you're going to feel for it because of what the subject is. But the twist at the very beginning and what it leads into, and then all the little things that happen and where you know it's going, but then it kind of changes things up, and the way it was compiled together and the ballsiness of these directors and the production to put something like this out, bravo to them. It literally, if you have HBO Max, HBO, whatever the hell it's called, go watch it. It is one of the most fascinating and depressing films about the prison system, how we view prisoners, how we view money, how we view power. And it's all real. So it's all just, life is so wonderful. But, that's how I feel about last year. Just underwhelming, but then it was also depressing with these last few films. So if you share my favorite film of the year, let me know. If you have different films, obviously there are a couple films that I know I'm going to get heat for. But let me tell you, I'm willing to have those conversations. Leave it in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out all my other lists. We're finally at the end of 2025 films. But yeah, so hopefully 2026, we're going to go into 2026. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. Let's hope we get some cool stuff out of it. Until then, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in to ChannelBK. Peace out, everybody.